Welcome, brave soul. I am the Forgotten Storyteller. Before we begin, tap that like button if you dare, and drop a comment below telling me where in the world you're listening from. And if you make it to the end of this video, I hope to see you in the next story. I hope you're ready, because I am. Let's begin. Imagine it, late at night. The last train. You've missed the crowd, the noise, the usual chaos. You stand there on the platform, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, their glow pale and sickly. The tracks breathe with a hollow draft, the steel rails shivering in anticipation. The loudspeaker has gone quiet. And then you hear it, footsteps, measured and deliberate, somewhere down the tunnel. You turn, and for just a second, just the briefest flicker, you catch the shape of someone standing there. The figure's still watching, waiting, and you realize you're not alone. Our story today begins not with a single city or a single haunting, but with a legend that travels on iron rails beneath the skin of the world. They call him the subway ghost rider, a phantom passenger, a midnight commuter who appears when no one should be there, slipping into empty train cars, riding silently, sometimes staring, sometimes smiling, sometimes simply vanishing the moment you blink. He has been seen, or at least claimed to be seen, in cities oceans apart. Boston, Tokyo, London. Some even whisper of him in New York, Seoul, and Moscow. Wherever trains run into the Earth's quiet underbelly, wherever the tunnels breathe darkness, he seems to follow. But the question that scratches at the back of the mind, that refuses to let go is this. Is he just an urban myth? Or is there something real, something more chilling, riding those midnight rails? The first whispers of the ghost rider weren't written in books or carved into folklore. They spread like static, like a rumor too persistent to die. Online forums, urban legend wikis, Reddit threads buried in r/ghosts, TikTok videos filmed with trembling hands, shaky phone cameras capturing only glimpses, as if the lens itself resists the truth. One post reads, "Saw someone on the 1 a.m. train. I swear he was already sitting when I got on, but I hadn't seen him enter. He looked old, clothes gray like washed out. Didn't move the whole ride. But when I glanced at the window, he didn't have a reflection. None. I checked twice. Next stop, gone. Just gone." Another, at London's Underground Tube. Last service. There was a man standing at the far end of the platform. He wasn't waiting for the train, he was just staring down the tunnel. I thought maybe he was gonna jump. But when the train came, he didn't board. Still, when I sat inside, I swear I saw him sitting across from me. No one else noticed. He just smiled. Didn't blink once. At the next station, the doors opened. I looked away for half a second. And when I looked back, he was gone. And left no trace. And one more from Tokyo. We call him the Shinya Norinu, the stray dog of the night. People say he rides the Marunouchi line after midnight. Pale face, always alone. If you sit too close, sometimes he'll lean and whisper your name even if you never spoke it. No one knows how he knows. And if you follow him off the train, you don't come back. Different voices, different places, yet the same unsettling patterns. Faded clothing, shadows where reflections should be, sudden disappearances. A presence felt more than seen, like gravity bending toward a shape that shouldn't be there. But skeptics argue that the human mind is a cruel trickster. Long commutes, fluorescent lighting, sleep deprivation, reflections warped by glass, echoes mistaken for footsteps. They insist that what people see is nothing more than tired brains conjuring phantoms in the spaces between. And perhaps that's enough to explain a few. But all of them? Across oceans? Across decades? Some say the subway ghost rider isn't one ghost at all. He is many. An amalgamation of tragedies, of the hundreds who have died in the tunnels, in the stations, between the steel wheels of rushing trains. Forgotten workers buried alive in collapses. Suicides swallowed by the tracks. Unsolved disappearances where the body was never found. They say the tunnels are a graveyard, and the train's a hearse that never stops running. The ghost rider is merely their echo, their collective face stitched into one haunting presence. Others believe he is a single entity, bound by something far older, far darker. A worker from Boston's early subway in the 1800s, crushed in a cave-in, his remains never recovered. Or perhaps a passenger from London's plague years, when tunnels doubled as shelters and corpses were sealed within the walls. In Tokyo, whispers link him to the sarin gas attacks, the fear and death soaked into the rails themselves, birthing something that refuses to rest. But what kind of haunting is he? A residual haunting, they ask, like a broken record, endlessly replaying a final, tragic moment? Or something intelligent, something aware, something that sees you, and then chooses you? smiles at you with knowledge it should not have. And what makes it worse is not just the sightings. It is the silence. The suffocating dread of being alone in a place built for people. The tunnels remind us of isolation, of the abyss beneath our feet, of being trapped in metal boxes under tons of earth, no escape but forward. When you see him, when you hear the slow drag of shoes on the platform, the quiet hum of someone breathing who should not be there, you are not just afraid of him. You are afraid of the truth, that even here in our modern world, surrounded by screens and security cameras, something primal and unknowable can still reach us. The Ghost Rider has gone viral more than once. YouTube clips with shaky footage of a man at the far end of an empty car, head bowed, never moving. TikTok videos showing a shadow entering through a closed door. Reddit threads filled with frantic comments, "I saw him too. This isn't fake. Look at the reflection. He doesn't have one." One particular video, infamous in certain circles, shows a girl recording herself on the last train of the Central Line in London. She's speaking to the camera, joking about being alone in the car. But in the corner of the frame, out of focus, a man is sitting 3 rows behind her. His face is indistinct. As the train jolts, she pans the camera for just a second. He's gone. But the seat cushion is still indented. Experts have tried to debunk it. Compression artifacts, poor lighting, edited footage. But none can explain the dozens of comments from others who claim to have seen him too. "That's the same man I saw in Tokyo. I swear he was on my train in Boston." The shape becomes less a local ghost and more a traveler. A passenger with no destination. A commuter who rides forever. Some investigators argue that the footage is fake, a collective internet creepypasta. But others, paranormal researchers, folklorists, see something more. They say urban legends evolve with our world. Where once we feared forests and highways, now we fear the underground arteries of our cities. The Ghost Rider isn't just a story. He is a mirror for our collective unease. A modern phantom for a modern world. And so, the train rolls on, through darkness, through rumor, through fear. Somewhere, even now, in some city, someone is sitting across from him. Perhaps he is watching. Perhaps he is smiling. Perhaps he is waiting for you. We've read the threads, seen the clips, listened to the whispers. But what happens when those whispers grow louder? When strangers from across the world begin to describe the same face, the same smile, the same silent figure staring from the other side of the car. The Ghost Rider is no longer just a flicker in a forum post. He's a presence that lingers, an unwanted passenger stepping off the digital screen and into the tunnels beneath your feet. Let me tell you about Marissa, a college student in Boston. She was coming home late from a study session, around 12:45 a.m., riding the Green Line. The car was empty, except for a man sitting 2 rows ahead. His back hunched, his coat too large, the fabric faded like it had been washed 1,000 times until the color bled away. She thought nothing of it, until the train entered the next tunnel and the windows reflected the interior. She looked at herself, at the rows of seats, at the flickering lights, and then at the place where the man should have been. It was empty. His seat reflected nothing but cracked leather and shadows. No outline, no shape, just absence. Yet when she turned her head, he was still there, hunched, motionless. Marissa pressed the emergency call button. The intercom crackled, but no voice answered. The train slowed at the next stop. The doors opened. She fled. When she looked back into the car, the man was standing, his face just beginning to turn toward her. She swore his eyes were pitch black. Another account, this time from Hiroshi, a Tokyo salaryman. After a night of drinking, he caught the last Marunouchi line home. He nearly fell asleep on the train, but something woke him, a whisper, low and hoarse, directly in his ear. "Hiroshi." He jolted upright, scanning the car. No one was sitting near him. In fact, the entire car was empty. The only figure was several rows away, sitting perfectly still, head lowered. Hiroshi's skin prickled. He got up, moved to the next car through the connecting door. But when he sat down again, he glanced at the window. His reflection was alone. Yet faintly, impossibly, another reflection hovered just behind his shoulder. A man, smiling. Hiroshi never took the subway again. He quit his job and relocated. To this day, he refuses to ride underground. And then there's Callum in London. His video is still on Reddit, buried in the comments. He boarded the Central Line just before closing. His phone camera records him laughing nervously, saying, "Look, empty car, last train, typical horror movie setup, right?" But in the background, barely visible, there's a man. His face is blurred, indistinct, as if the camera lens refuses to capture him clearly. Callum doesn't seem to notice. He keeps filming. He even walks the length of the car to prove he's alone. Yet with each shot, the man grows closer, moving without being seen. One frame he's seated. The next he's standing. The next he's nearly behind Callum. The final frame cuts out abruptly mid-laugh. The phone was later found on the floor of the car, battery drained. Callum himself? Never reported missing. Never seen again. Boston, Tokyo and London. Stories separated by oceans, yet strangely identical in detail. The Ghost Rider is described as tall but slouched, clothes desaturated as though bleached of life. Sometimes his face is obscured, other times revealed in glimpses. Hollow cheeks, thin lips, or worse, smiling eyes that never blink. This isn't a local haunting. This isn't the ghost of one station or one tragedy. This is a commuter traveling beyond borders, carried by steel wheels and electricity. Some theorists believe he moves through the tunnels like veins, that subways across the globe are connected by a network we cannot see, a labyrinth beneath the earth where space folds in on itself. If so, the Ghost Rider isn't bound to one city. He is bound to the rails themselves. And wherever those rails run, so too does he. Skeptics cling to science as they always do. They argue it is pareidolia, the brain's desperate need to recognize patterns, seeing faces in shadows, hearing whispers and static. They argue that fatigue, intoxication, or isolation distort perception. Mirrors on subway windows, especially at night, play tricks. Glass bends light. Reflections fade. Sometimes a seat cushion appears empty when someone is seated. Sometimes fluorescent bulbs flicker in just the wrong way, and the mind fills in the gaps. And yet, skepticism falters under weight of consistency. How do so many describe the same smile? The same vanished reflection? The same whisper of their names? Coincidence, they say. But deep down, even the skeptics hesitate when riding that final train alone, catching their own reflection in the glass. Because for just a moment, they wonder. Whispers suggest the Ghost Rider is more than just a ghost, more than a haunting. Some believe he is a collector, that he does not merely appear but chooses, that those who vanish, like Callum, like others unspoken, are taken somewhere beyond the tunnels, somewhere the maps don't show. Folklorists argue he could be a modern psychopomp, a guide for the dead, ferrying lost souls along the rails to whatever lies beyond. If so, those who see him might be standing closer to death than they realize. His presence might not be random, but a warning. Others lean on darker tales. A spirit who feeds on isolation, whose strength grows with every frightened gaze, every whispered post, every shared TikTok. The Ghost Rider isn't just haunting subways. He's haunting us. The more we talk, the more we spread his image, the more real he becomes. There's a subreddit thread archived now, locked by moderators, where dozens claimed sightings in the same week. Posts from Boston, Tokyo, London, New York. Same figure, same smile, same silence. But what chilled the community wasn't the sightings. It was the usernames. Each account, days after posting, was deleted. Not by the users, but erased, removed in their entirety. Some claimed their DMs filled with strange messages beforehand. Strings of numbers, distorted images of subway tunnels, audio files with nothing but static, and beneath it, if you turn the volume high enough, the sound of a train approaching. Imagine this. Scrolling late at night, half asleep, you stumble across a video. A man sitting in a subway car, head bowed. Nothing remarkable. Until you realize, he's sitting in the exact same seat you ride every morning. The upholstery. The window scratch. You realize it's your train. And then you notice, in the corner of the video, his head begins to rise. Slowly. As if he's looking directly at the camera. Directly at you. The clip ends before his eyes meet yours. But you're left with a thought you cannot shake. Was that filmed days ago, or is it waiting for you tomorrow morning? The Ghost Rider thrives on one thing above all else, the psychology of fear. We tell ourselves subways are safe, mechanical, routine. But underneath, they prey on our most primal anxieties, being trapped, being followed, being watched. And when a figure steps into that fear, dressed in gray, silent and smiling, we do not forget. By now, the Ghost Rider is no longer a stranger. You've seen his outline in the stories. You've glimpsed his reflection, or lack of one, in the windows. But what happens when the myth collides with investigation? When believers and skeptics alike take the legend seriously enough to probe, to dissect, to demand an answer? Paranormal investigator Dr. Evelyn Carr once said in an interview, "Urban legends are not just stories. They are cultural fingerprints." The Ghost Rider is fascinating because he appears globally, independent of culture. That consistency suggests one of two things, either a widespread psychological archetype, or a phenomenon that is truly crossing borders. In contrast, urban folklorist Michael Harrow argues, it's digital contamination, a creepypasta gone viral. People see the ghost online, then expect to see him in real life. Their brains comply. What fascinates me, though, is that some of these accounts predate the internet. That complicates things. The seed is older than we think. But then comes the unsettling point, the line both skeptics and believers circle around yet never quite cross: the disappearances. People vanish from the record. College kids, commuters, office workers. Not thousands, not even hundreds, but enough to leave a trail of unease. A Reddit account goes silent. A TikTok ends mid-laugh. A face, once blurred in the background of a video, is now blurred from existence. There are darker whispers in the online communities, theories that seep into late-night conversations when the train car is empty, when the fluorescent lights flicker too often. Some suggest the ghost rider isn't bound to tragedy, but to time itself. That he is a passenger out of step, slipping between minutes, waiting in those pauses between stations where the train lingers longer than it should. Others insist he is a warning, that seeing him means death is near, that he is not a ghost but a harbinger, a conductor of fate, ensuring you board the last train not of the night, but of your life. And then there are the ones who say he feeds on attention, that every retelling, every video, every whispered story fuels him, that the more we speak his name, the stronger he becomes. If that's true, then this very story, this very moment of us sitting together in the dark, may be giving him power. But why does the ghost rider disturb us so deeply? It's not gore. It's not violence. It's the subtle, gnawing terror of being watched in silence. Think about it. The subway is supposed to be ordinary. It's routine. Every morning, every night, thousands of us step into those cars without thinking. Yet strip away the crowd, the chatter, the music in your headphones, and you are left with something more primal. The hum of electricity, the groan of metal, the realization that you are sealed in a capsule beneath the earth, with no escape until the next stop. The ghost rider taps into that vulnerability. He doesn't chase. He doesn't attack. He doesn't scream. He simply exists, bending reality just enough to unravel your certainty. He waits. He stares. And sometimes he smiles. Perhaps the most chilling evidence doesn't come from witnesses at all, but from the videos themselves. Analysts have pointed out anomalies, frames that should not exist, timestamps that glitch, voices muttering beneath the audio track. There's one clip, known only as the 40-second ride. It lasts exactly 42 seconds. Shot on an old flip phone, it shows an empty car, except for a blurred figure in the far corner. The camera zooms shakily. The closer it gets, the less clear the figure becomes, as if resisting focus. At the 39-second mark, the video freezes. Then, for 3 frames, just 3, an entirely different scene flickers. A dark tunnel, a face pressed against the glass, mouth open as if screaming. Then it cuts to black. Some claim the video is cursed. That those who watch it alone at night hear footsteps afterward. That they dream of tunnels and wake to find the sheets damp, as though from underground condensation. A podcast once claimed to have interviewed a subway maintenance worker in New York. He spoke of extra schedules, phantom trains that appeared on the system, logged by computers but never arriving. He said sometimes the monitors showed cars in tunnels that had been closed for decades. The episode was never uploaded. The creators went silent, their social media accounts deleted within days. Only fragments of the transcript remain, shared anonymously online. Saw him once, sitting alone. Thought he was a vagrant. But when I walked closer, my flashlight dimmed. And then he was behind me. I don't remember leaving the tunnel. But I woke up in my car. Hours later. I don't work there anymore. And so, the ghost rider remains, part myth, part monster, part mirror of our deepest fears. Maybe he's nothing more than shared hallucination. Maybe he's the collective shadow of every commuter's anxiety. But maybe, just maybe, he's real. Riding the rails right now, somewhere beneath your feet. Urban legends persist because they strike chords we can't silence. They remind us that no matter how modern, how technological, how advanced we become, there are still cracks in the world where the unexplained bleeds through. The ghost rider lives in those cracks. So the next time you ride the last train, when the crowd is gone, when the fluorescent lights flicker, when the glass shows only your reflection, look closely. Look at the far end of the car. At the seats that should be empty. At the figure you think you see, sitting still, head bowed. And if he lifts his face, if he smiles, if he whispers your name in the stillness of the tunnel, pray it's just your tired mind playing tricks. Because the next time you're on the last train, you should ask yourself one question. Who's riding with you? Let us know in the comments, would you catch the last late night train? Thank you for sticking around to the end, it really does mean a lot. Please don't forget to leave a like, and if you want to hear more stories like this one, please consider subscribing and hit the bell, so you will be the first to know when we upload new stories. Thank you.
Ready for spine-chilling tales that will haunt your thoughts? Subscribe to Forgotten Storyteller for eerie narrations, unsettling mysteries, and haunting stories you won't forget. Hit the bell icon so you never miss a story, because some stories refuse to stay buried. Join us, if you dare.